So, we're not gonna have snow today.
Know what they say?
No, that's what I said.
Don't make any difference.
I'm
We get what
thinking
we get.
positive. It'll be
We get what we get.
Yep, we got no control.
I got snow tires.
Mhm. People not get snow tires anymore because tires are good, they're all weather.
And herself.
I got all weather tires on my car and they're not all weather. You get that ice and
Yeah.
slush.
Yeah.
They slide around, you get those.
Like a special nightmare? Got more.
Yeah, snow tires.
I'm gonna try to get out by 1, get up to the cities by 1:30. I got my flight at 6:30 tonight.
Really?
Yeah.
Where you headed to? It's amazing.
Headed out to New York.
You can pull in a field driveway like this,
Going to meet up with that investment.
wet and rainy and all this stuff, and then kick back out, so.
We'll see what happens.
Talk to his friend.
Worst case, it's good beer and good
Oh, yeah,
sushi out there.
crazy
It's not a bad deal.
snow, and she said. Well, the rest of it, is there always a nothing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. It ain't here, I can tell you that.
What you gonna do?
All right. Let's go ahead and get things started. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. This is also being recorded. If you have trouble seeing the screen, I apologize. The way I have it set up today, I can't just mirror and match it. You can shut that off, John, if you'd like. Today, we're going to talk about profit share and building wealth through passive income. And I want to preface this by saying this is not a class about recruiting. All right. So don't let it come off that way. I'm not asking you to go out and recruit people to Keller Williams. That's not what this class is about at all. What it is about is if you're in relationships with people, or if you desire to be strategic about generating passive income, if you formulate great relationships with people in the business, outside the business, people looking to get into real estate, and you happen to introduce them to our company and they join, you can benefit from it. All right. So let's make sure that we nip that in the bud right now. Don't call yourself a recruiter. Your job isn't to go recruit. It's to be a phenomenal real estate agent. So phenomenal, they can attract people to the company because they wouldn't want to do business anywhere else. Yes, ma'am.
And as Linda McKissick says, it's just not fair not to share.
Absolutely. As somebody that has come from another company, a well-known company in the area that does a good amount of business, what I realized when I reflect upon my experience with that company versus this one is I didn't know what I didn't know. And knowing that everything that's available to you here at this company, what we do for our agents, how much we care about them, it's a no-brainer. So I get really passionate about people coming over to Keller Williams or having a career here because I know how it's impacted my life. So that being said, we're going to go over a couple of things before we dive into some of the content or material. What I want to show you guys is everybody has the ability to, if you log into kw.com, to pull a couple of different reports for yourself as it relates to your profit share. So I'll show you how to access these, and then you can kind of look to see where you are, what your profit share is like, and all that fun stuff. So you log into kw.com, and then you click on reports. Let me back one up, see if I can do that real quick. So kw.com, come down here, log in. Once you're at the home screen, you hover over reports, which is right here underneath your green bar. Can everybody see the hand? Click on reports. That brings you to this. Don't worry, this wheel kind of works almost the whole time. That's fine. You can still hover over reports, and you have access to all these different reports. So you can scroll down to profit share and come over here and click profit share once again. And what it does is it pulls your specific profit share report. Give it a minute to generate. Okay, perfect. So if it's, can you guys see that okay? If I flip the lights on, you probably can't see it anymore, can you? No. Okay, so everybody has the ability to pull this. This is my personal profit share report. I've been with the company since I think I joined in late 2012. I joined in like October or November of 2012, and then in 2013 was my first full year with the company. As you can see, that's kind of when I started introducing people to Keller Williams. And over time, here are the totals. So the total for 2013 that I received in profit share was a little over 1,000, and it jumped to 2 grand, 4 grand, 8 grand, a little over 5 last year. And you can see so far about $500 in January of this year, about 150 in February of this year, and then March hasn't been tallied in there yet. But it's real money. It's real money. Let's see, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, about 20 grand since 2013 in profit share. And oh, by the way, that's just mine, because I named my wife as my sponsor. So she has a very similar report. So between the two of us, profit share is real. And that's why, and here's the deal, this, it wasn't a focus of mine. It was if I came in touch with people and they're looking for a company, I introduced them to the company. And I left it to Keller Williams to get them up and running, get them into production, right? And just over time, it is built. So I'll show you how that works. You can pull this report, and it's a nice little way to kind of track and see what it is you're doing year over year. Now, the other report I'll show you is your downline. So if you click on this blue link right here, it's going to take you to another area that's going to show you another report. And this report shows you who the people are in your downline. Okay, so I'm gonna use some people in here as an example, right? So I'm gonna use Debbie as an example. Debbie put us in touch with John. John joined the company. He said, "Hey, Debbie's the one that introduced me to the company," right? So John is in Debbie's downline. Okay, now anybody else that John introduces to the company, they name him as a sponsor, is also as a consequence in Debbie's downline as well, up to 7 levels. That's how that works, and I'll kind of show you, explain to you. So this is an illustration of those different levels. Again, this is my personal profit share tree. So AJ, who just recently joined our office, that's the guy I got in touch with. He joined, said, "Yep, Axel introduced me." And then he introduced Paul to the company. So that's why AJ, he's in my tree, and then Paul is as well. Andrew, Vincent, Brad, Cole. This is my mom, Erin. And here's the cool thing. If you scroll down, or if I scroll down, what the report shows me is my tree based on how her tree has progressed as well. So you can see my mom, Erin, she introduced these people to the company. This is my brother, Cole. Cole, my brother, he introduced these people to the company. Sarah introduced this person to the company. And these numbers right here, the 2, the 3, the 4, that corresponds to the different levels in my tree those people are. Right? So this gal right here, she's 4 people removed from me. I love Kate, she's awesome. She's with our Burnsville office. But she's in my tree because I introduced my mom, we introduced Cole, we introduced Kate. And it goes all the way down to 7 levels, and after that it stops, right? Dylan is another brother of mine. See, one way to grow your profit share tree is you just get your family. I'm just joking.
There goes your warm market, though.
Yeah, a couple of other folks. Joanna, Joyce, Keisha, Karen Baldridge. So Karen named my mom. This is still part of my mom's. She named my mom, and then Karen introduced Alicia and her brother Tim to the company. So this is an interesting story. So Matt originally named my brother Dylan, but then he let his license lapse. And if you're not vested with the company, then if you come out of the system, it just goes 1 level up. So then it went up to my mom. And then Matt's got a couple people he's introduced another person. So I've got at least a couple people. Ben, I've never met. I don't know who this person is, but I still benefit from a profit share standpoint. And then Bob, who joined our company, named my mom because she met him at real estate school. And then a few other folks. Winona Eichenberger, this is an interesting story. So she's with one of the offices in the Twin Cities. And the way I got put in touch with Winona is one of the closing companies that we use often said, "Hey, Zach, a friend of mine's getting in the business. You're always a pleasure to work with. Would you mind having coffee with her, just talking to her about real estate?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." Spent 30 minutes with her. She's a lovely lady. She got licensed and said, "Hey, I'm joining Keller Williams because Zach, said I should consider the company." That's all this. I didn't go out and recruit her. I was just an agent doing my business and said, "Yeah, I'll grab coffee with somebody looking to get into real estate." And guess what? She's a capper. She does good business. So I get a decent amount of profit share because she joined the company. So everybody has the ability to pull this report. And as we go through some other slides in the presentation, I'll show you exactly how the tree works, how it builds over time, and we'll also do a little bit some scripts. Because, when you hear me say, Yeah, it's a profit share tree, and it goes down 7 levels. What does your drunk monkey sometimes say?
Pyramid scheme.
Pyramid scheme. Oh my God, that sounds illegal. It sounds shysty. It sounds like a pyramid scheme. So this is what I love telling people. Well, number one, obviously it's not a pyramid scheme. You don't become the #1 real estate company in the world by using an illegal pyramid scheme. That's just nuts. Let's just get that out of your head right now. Number two, the question is, what's with this Keller Williams and profit share goofiness? What's going on? Or the question is, why in the world doesn't your company profit share with you? That's the real question, right? So put it back on them and help them realize how foolish it is to really kind of have that limited mindset when it comes to profit share. Are you kidding me right now? You're gonna beat us up on a profit share system, the fact that we give money back to our agents? Not only do we take less of your money as a company, we also give you some of your money back. So the questions here are, all right, what's wrong with us and our system? The question is, what in the world is wrong with your company, and why aren't they sharing the profits with you? Have you thought about it that way? All right, so anyway, we'll get into some of that. But any questions on this right here? In your ability to pull these reports. We're a transparent company, so you can pull this, you can take a look at it. You get a tax statement each year with your profit share income, because obviously that's a taxable event. I know taxes are fresh on people's minds right now, right? Yeah, absolutely. So for those of you that got it submitted, you're like, woohoo. For those of you that didn't, you're like, ooh. Okay, so I want to dive into a little bit about profit share in a more formal setting. So how many of you right now receive profit share occasionally? Awesome. And for how many years have you received profit share, Lori?
On and off.
On and off for how many years though?
12.
Okay, awesome. Debbie?
Well, I've been here almost 13 years and we weren't always profitable.
Right.
I would say steady, probably the last 5.
Okay, very good. And Michelle?
I'd say 5.
About 5 years or so? Okay. Very good. So obviously it's something that you can benefit from. Come on in. How are you?
Good.
On a regular basis, right? And for some people, what I'll tell you is, for some people, it's much more of a priority than others, and that's okay. That's not a judgment thing. It's just some people are really hyper focused on it, and other people are kind of like, hey, if an opportunity arises, absolutely, it's a no-brainer. So we'll dive into it here, and needless to say, anybody is eligible to participate in profit share. And one of the biggest things that I need to make clear is profit share, when you earn it, you're not earning a portion of the other agent's commission. That's not how it works. Not at all. What you're earning is a portion of the company's profit, right? So everybody has a cap. Sometimes you're contributing to it, sometimes you're not. If you're capped, it comes to the company. The company reevaluates its profit every month, and then profit shares with the agents that have helped us grow and that were in production. So it's important to understand you're not getting a part of somebody else's commission, right? So welcome. We're going to learn about profit share. What is it? How does it work? How you can build your tree, and how you can build a plan to be more focused about it if you desire to do so. So out of curiosity, this class was titled what on the training calendar? Anybody remember? How to generate wealth through passive income, right? Because I just showed you my personal profit share tree, and since 2013, it was how much money? It was about 20 grand. It's about 20 grand. And so, does anybody know how old I am?
30.
Good job. Thank you for not saying anything more than 30. So I'm 30. How many years do you? What kind of longevity do you think I have in this business?
40 more.
How many more years? 50 more. I appreciate that confidence, Lori. Thank you so much. So,
As long as you want. Yeah, I was gonna say, as long as you want.
Right. Well, and quite frankly, I don't have to be actively selling real estate to still benefit from profit share, right? So 13 to 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. Let's say I've really only received profit share for 4 years. It's been about 20 grand. And I've got how many more years in the business? At least, if I wanted to, actively, 2 to 3 more decades. So when I talk about generating wealth through passive income, if I take that, which has been steadily growing, and I magnify it over the course of another 20 to 25 to 30 years, that's generating wealth. By the way, I've been doing it as a little side gig, right? Just what comes my way. By the way, as you can see, it kind of starts growing itself for you over time as well, right? So don't discount profit share. The amount of wealth it can help you generate passively. So you saw that it was titled Generate Wealth Through Passive Income. that got you in here. So what are you hoping to learn, or what are you hoping to get out of today's class?
A plan.
Okay, a plan. Okay, anybody else?
I just feel like I know very little about
Sure,
it.
just to learn more, like what the heck is this profit share thing? Okay, very good. How can I participate in it? What does it look
Right.
like? How does it work? Okay. So a plan, if you want to grow your profit share tree, just kind of more about how it works, maybe get some questions answered. By the way, questions are welcome at any time. Anything else for the good of the order? Okay, we'll keep moving on. You will need to know how to build your passive income and have a plan in place to activate your passive income potential if you choose to do so, right? If you choose to do so. Why profit share? And this gets to the story of probably of Zhang yesterday, who said, so Zhang is a new agent, just joined us. He came in yesterday, met a few people, and he said, why in the world is everybody being so nice to me? Why are you being so nice? Aren't you afraid I'm going to take your business? Debbie, why would you give me advice about building my database and growing my business? Well, this is why. And this is actually the secret sauce of our company. Because we truly believe together everyone achieves more, and the profit share is a win-win. Because here's the deal, when we welcome new agents or any agents at all, we know if we help them do more business, our company will be more profitable, which means we can do what? We can profit share more. Right? The more profitable our company is, the more profit share we can distribute to our agents. And that's also why we're always managing and watching expenses as well. Right? That's why when you talk about, we need to take out billboards all across Minnesota, we're going to say, well, no, we're not going to do that. Number one, because it's useless. And number two, it's extremely expensive and it's going to wipe out our profit share. Right? So what I'd rather do is share some profits and then you guys do your own marketing that you choose to or choose not to do.
Word of mouth.
Say again?
Word of mouth doesn't cost any money.
Absolutely. This is another reason why it's a win-win in terms of profit share. No financial risk. So unlike the owners of the respective market centers, who have money in the game already, who have risks and liabilities and all this fun stuff, your profit share is really you giving you the ability, the potential to build another business with no risk, financially or legally, no down payment. You don't have to make any phone calls unless you choose to do so. So when we say there's no risk legally and financially, what does that actually mean? That's a legal hotline call right now. What does it mean? Because so Ed is our OP. He's the main guy that owns Keller Williams Premier Realty, right? And Ed's on the hook for a lot financially and a lot from a liability standpoint, right? But when you're building your profit share tree, are you on the hook for anything?
No.
Zero. Does it cost you any money to do it?
No.
No, unless you choose to make some investments in it. Absolutely not. So that's why it's
It costs you a cup of coffee.
cost you a cup of coffee. Sure, certainly can. But in the long run, like any business, an investment in a cup of coffee could lead to how much in annual passive income? Quite a bit, right? If you recruit a capping agent, an agent that has a level of production that's about 2.3 million or more annually, how much on average does that equate to yearly in profit share? Does anybody know? It's about 1,500 to 1,800 on average. So if there's an agent out there that's doing 2.3 million or more on an annual basis, and you happen to introduce them to the company, they name you as a sponsor, you can plan on an average of $1,500 to $1,800 annually in your profit share. Which, Lori, from a plan standpoint, allows you to be very strategic. If you say, well, my goal is I want to earn 10 grand annually in profit share. Well, great. How many capping producing agents do you need to add to your outline? Which is it? I think you gave me two numbers back there. 7 or 8?
Yeah, 7 or 8.
7.5.
Yeah, between 7 and 8. So here's the other flip side on profit share. If you recruit 100 agents, they're all brand new and none of them new production, are you going to receive any profit share? No. That's why our model works. And that's also why it's the brilliance of its design. So when John's in here and he's like, oh my God, why are you guys helping me? Because we want to help you produce. Because if you produce, then you share profit, right? And you make us more profitable altogether. So you have to keep that in your mind as well. People are like, well, people have joined Keller Williams in the Navy, but haven't received any profit share. Great. We got to get that person into production. Then there'll be some profit to share. right? Because if we're just sharing based on revenue, what's that a recipe for? Bankruptcy. Bankruptcy. Because is revenue different than profit? Absolutely. If you listen to the reports and all that, you can have a company that's, we've got $1 billion in revenue, but we're not profitable. We've got $1 billion in annual revenue, but somehow we have a deficit of 500 million. I don't know how that math works. That's a lot of companies out there doing that. So you really don't have any profit to share. If you're sharing simply based on revenue, all you're doing is you're adding to your deficit, right? Okay, enough said. What is passive income? Money that you receive without doing anything to actively earn it, right? It's just money that kind of just shows up in your mailbox. We call it mailbox money because of something that you did a while ago. You don't really have to give it much focus. It is what it is. What are other sources of passive income or other examples of passive income?
Rental property.
Rental properties, exactly, right? Depending upon how involved you are. Buy a property, you rent it out. In theory, you get a check every month for rent. You deduct the expenses, and then whatever's left over is your passive income monthly, right? But again, with owning properties, what do you have that you don't have with profit share? You got liability, you got risk, you got a headache, you got people calling you to come fix things.
I like this better.
Yeah,
I was gonna say.
absolutely. Well, honestly, if I bought and owned a property over the last 4 years and I got 20 grand profit from owning that property, that'd be a pretty phenomenal cash flowing rental property. Would you agree?
Oh, yeah.
If you buy, out of curiosity, if you own a rental property, what do you think most people accept as an okay acceptable monthly cash flow on that property?
200.
I was gonna say passive, yeah.
Huh?
500.
5 would be pretty aggressive. 5 would be phenomenal, right? So what's 5 times 12? 6 grand. And what's that times 4?
24.
It's right in line with what I've been earning in profit share, right? Only had no down payment,
No risk.
no down payment, no risk, no
insurance.
liability, nothing to manage, right? And oh, by the way, if I was doing 500, that would be pretty phenomenal. If I scaled it back to 250, 300, probably more reasonable, then I would outperform, right? Very good. Okay, so this is what is the most motivating to me about profit share. And if you go to an Aaron Kaufman event, you'll hear him talk about this. He's a profit share guru. At our company, through our profit share system, you have the ability to earn more than 100% of your commission. And when I say that, what does that mean? Anybody but Debbie. Michelle? Yes. So if I cap, I'm earning 100%, right? But I paid my 19.5 cap and my 3,000 royalties, right? But if we were to say we can make you 100% plus, or you can keep more than the commission you earn, how would that work? What does that mean? What are we communicating to people? What is the opportunity?
For your downline, for your profit share to
Yes. Say that again.
for your profit share to equal your monthly or exceed your monthly expenses.
Right. Yeah. So let's say we've got our cap of 19.5, right? Plus our royalty, which gives us a total of how much? 22.5, right? So what we're saying is, what a good goal would be is, okay, if you pay 22.5 in company dollar annually, but you make your goal to earn, let's say, 25,000 annually in profit share, well, then all of a sudden, what's happening?
100%.
You're over 100% of what you're earning in your commission. There's no other company out there that has an opportunity like that, right? You're basically getting your cap refunded and then some. So you're earning more than 100%. You're 100% plus, right? Or here's how I like to phrase it. In other words, Keller Williams is literally paying you to do business here, right? So 22, see 2, 3, 4, 5. We paid you $2,500 to do business here, above and beyond keeping 100% of your commission. And let's see, what's 22.5? Let's do it by 1,500. Somebody with their phone or a calculator handy. What's 22.5 divided by 1,500?
15.
Interesting how that math works. Because Mo Anderson would tell you to get 15 capping agents within your first level of your downline. What's 15 divided by 5? 3. 3? Right? Yeah. It was a simple one. So here's your quick plan. If you want to be a member of the 100% Club, you can either make it your focus or your plan, Lori, to recruit 3 capping agents every year for 5 years, or you can make it to recruit 5 capping agents every year for 3 years. And if you do either of these strategies in 3 to 5 years, you'll be what? Be a member of the 100% Plus Club. This is less than 1 a quarter. You can introduce a producing agent once every 3 months. For the next 5 years, your profit share will be through the roof. Through the roof. And oh, by the way, we're not taking into account what in addition to that?
Who they?
People that they introduce. It'll compound. It's the compound effect, as Aaron called it.
Like my Iowa.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can share that when we get to that point. But if you just focus on the 15 in your first line, and then they're adding people as well over these 2 years, you're gonna well exceed becoming a member of the 100% Plus Club, right? So this is less than 1 a quarter. This is about 1 a quarter, right? If once every 3 months you brought somebody in 3 years from now, which is not that far from now, you're talking some pretty serious money for a profit share. John's already over here doing calculations. You're talking about some pretty serious money. And oh, by the way, once you're with our company for 3 years and a day, you become what? Vested. You can pass away, and who's going to continue to receive profit share? The beneficiaries. And oh, by the way, you can retire, you can stop selling real estate, and you're still going to receive
They
profit
need to
share.
pay that $25
Annually.
yearly, right?
Yep. There's a $25 a fee. There's $25 a year that you pay,
Right.
whether you're retired or not. It goes toward the profit share system,
Right.
running it, and maintenance of it. Yep. But because a lot of people, profit share seems so daunting, and that's just how those numbers are so astronomical. There's got to be only so many people that do those kind of numbers. But when you look at it this way, does that not put it in perspective? That's doable, right? I just showed you my downline and how many people were in it, right? If you're focused and purposeful about it, you can certainly do it. So that's what we mean when we say earn more than the commission split that you pay. And again, just to reiterate, there's no place else that has this opportunity for it.
Zach, what does Althea still make, Osborne?
It's insane.
Isn't she around 900,000 a year?
Yeah, purely from profit share.
Purely,
Yeah.
yeah, because she's what, 81 now?
Yeah, she's up there, man.
Yeah, and she still gets her profit share every month, and it's unbelievable, unbelievable.
Well, that's a good question. So this gets paid out monthly?
Yes, 21st of every month. Yep. And
That is your friend.
And then
Yeah.
the other question I have is, what's the $25 fee? Is that for, to get into it, or is that
No.
after you retire, or what were you saying?
So to
It's a
maintain.
fee.
When you're with the company, it gets collected, I think, every January.
Yeah.
But then once, like, if you're no longer actively selling real estate or you're no longer licensed, you just have to make sure the company stays in touch with you. You'll still get profit
Okay.
share. You just have to make sure you pay at least the $25.
Okay, so right now it just
To
comes
stay in
out.
the system.
Okay.
Yep, right now it's already factored in for you.
Okay.
But yeah, so when you see these months broken down here, Susan, that's the amount per month that showed up in a bank account on the 21st. And the Keller Williams system kind of takes care of computing and calculating all that. That's what that $25 annually goes toward. There's something else I wanted to say, but so you can have this money directed wherever you want. So mine goes into another business account because I treat it like a business, right? If you treat this like a business, if let's say you call it John Buckingham Profit Share LLC, and you take people to coffee and you buy Red Books and stuff, well, what can you do? It's a business expense. It's a business expense, right? So keep that in mind as well. Or you can just roll it into your commission, business account as well. And I would say use the same strategy, 70-30 for taxes, etc. How does it work? An associate joins a market center and names you. Notice it says a market center, not your market center. So Brad, if you know people in the Twin Cities or wherever, if they join a Keller Williams office and they say, Brad's willing to introduce me and they name you as your sponsor, you get to participate in profit share. Doesn't matter where the market center is in the United States or the world. you have the ability to receive either profit share or growth share. I'll talk about growth share in just a minute. But that's pretty freaking phenomenal, if I can steal a word that Gary likes to use often. The fact that you can do this anywhere in the world that a Keller Williams office is huge, because how many of you guys are originally from Minnesota, or originally from Rochester? Yeah, just a few, right? So chances are you probably know people where you originally grew up, and you might stay in touch, and it's very natural for people to reach out to you and say, Debbie, I know that you're in real estate. I'm thinking of doing it back home. What can you tell me? Well, I can tell you join Keller Williams, right? Let me peruse mine real quick, and I'll answer your question. Let's see here. So I'm obviously a Twin Cities guy, but AJ's down here in Rochester, Benson Madison. He's now out in the Dakotas. Let's see. Karen's in Austin, and her gang used to have some people from Iowa, a couple people from other market centers in the Twin Cities. It doesn't matter where. Does not matter where. What was your question?
Oh, I didn't have a question, but
Okay.
it actually answers a question, because when we were just in Montana
Yeah.
visiting our daughter over Easter, we went to a distillery that we'd like to go to. And the gal that was working behind there just finished up school, and we got visiting, and she was the person, it's like a tasting place, and they, obviously make all of this stuff. But she was getting frustrated what she went to school for, not being able to find a good job. And then I said to her, well, you're really good at talking to people and all of this and that. And I said to her, have you ever thought about going into real estate, getting licensed? And I said, you got a great Keller Williams office here in town. And she's like, oh my gosh, I've thought about that. So I did give her my business card. Said, we'll be back in June. We'll have another conversation. So I actually have her information. So if she would actually license and go into the Bozeman office,
Yeah.
she could give my name.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute, because that's an important thing. I want to talk about it right now. I'm just going to use this slide because it's got more space. So what I would do in that instance, Susan, is this. Because here's the deal. Let's get real. Let's talk real world for a minute, right? And let's use Rochester as an example. There's a good chance that many of you know a lot of the same agents in Rochester, right? There's a good chance that Lori might say, hey, Zach, I just had a transaction with so-and-so over at whatever company. They're pretty awesome. You should give them a call. And it might even be the same day, might be 5 minutes later. Michelle does the same thing, same person. Hey, Zach, just ran into so-and-so at an open house over the weekend. They're awesome. You should give them a call. Well, holy crap. The same two people just gave you the same name. Well, now they can only have one sponsor to join the company, right? So I'm going to talk about some things that you can say, or some scripts you can use with that person to try to increase your chances of being their sponsor. Because here's the deal. As a team leader, at the end of the day, when we help that person join the company, this is what I say to them. Lori, we're so excited to welcome you to Keller Williams. It's fantastic. Thank you so much. Some of the paperwork we have to fill out is right here. It's going to ask you who your sponsor is. Basically, that's the person that was probably most influential in helping you join the company. That's a decision that you get to make. You can name whoever you think that person is. That's especially what I say if two people or more have put me in touch with them. If it's only been one person, like if it's pretty clear who introduced them to the company, then I would say, Lori's going to ask you who your sponsor is. Now, Brad's obviously the one that put us in touch and got us, together. So it would be appropriate for you to name Brad as your sponsor if he's the one that's responsible for you joining the company, right? So when one person is given the name, it's easy. But when it's multiple people, here's the deal: you can't get bent out of shape, because we all know the same people, and you're all telling me to call the same people. And oh, by the way, I can just go print off rosters and call people too, right? So here's what I would say if I'm trying to sponsor that person into the company out in Bozeman. What's her first name?
Her name was Alyssa.
Alyssa. I would say, Alyssa, my goodness, it was so good to meet you. You're such a high energy person. I think you'd be phenomenal in real estate. Here's what I'd love to do if you're okay with it. Let me put you in touch with the office manager of the Bozeman office. I'd like to connect the two of you, give you a chance to sit down, learn from each other, because at the end of the day, if you join Keller Williams, it would be an absolute honor to sponsor you in the company. So what am I doing in that script right there?
You're setting the table for her to
Yeah.
choose who's in as her sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely.